Hello, this is Sophomore Astrology. My name is Sarah, and for this video, I wanted to continue the Mars series and talk about Mars and Sagittarius. Now, I've done this video before, but I don't feel like I kind of gave the energy justice, so I'm going to try again to explain this placement. So now, first things first, Mars. Mars is a physical and sexual energy. It is your drive. It is what you're motivated by, how you're motivated. It's also about how your energy is. Is it sporadic? Is it more consistent? It's also about, because Mars rules Aries, and Aries is the god of war. It's about, being competitive, being assertive, standing your ground, protection, all of that stuff, self-preservation. That is Mars. That is the embodiment of Mars. Now, when you put Mars in a sign like Sagittarius, both the planet Mars and Sagittarius are very similar. And it's almost like when you have too much of something, it's like too much of anything is never a good thing. So hopefully there are other aspects to kind of keep a Mars and Sagittarius person grounded, because these people have the ability to get very hot-tempered. They might not have the direction that they need to kind of do the things that they want to do. They might have a hard time being inspired by something because they feel like they're inspired. They could be inspired by anything. Like I said, like Mars is hot and dry, and Sagittarius is a hot and dry sign, but it's also mutable. So it's not cardinal where it can kind of like be a Capricorn and really focuses its energy in one direction, right? It doesn't have that focus. And then it's not like a Mars in Scorpio where they could be fixed and kind of stubborn in a good way and be very calculated because they really have that that energy that could really kind of sit into something and really study it. And so that's why a Mars and Sagittarius person, I think about that scene in Hunger Games, right? And I think it's Catching Fire, where Katniss Everdeen, see, that's the thing. Sagittarius' symbol is an arrow, right? And a bow and arrow. And when you think about like that scene in Hunger Games where she kind of puts the bow on the arrow and she points it to the top of the arena that they were all kind of playing the Hunger Games in. She shoots it, and then all of a sudden everything kind of just goes crazy, and then the whole entire, like, all the districts are kind of like rebelling against the Capitol, right? So it's kind of like, and I thought it was also kind of ironic in the movie, she didn't know what she was doing, right? Like, she didn't know that she kind of like was the catapult to kind of start all this societal uproar, right? And that's what a Mars and Sagittarius person, I think, struggles with, is kind of finding direction and knowing also too how much of their power and energy can affect those around them if it's left unchecked. Like I said, Mars unchecked will destroy everything. And it's almost kind of like that's the detriment of Mars and Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is such a wise sign, but if they don't know what they're doing, they will, with ignorance, they will destroy everything. So yeah, there's that. And then also too, I kind of wanted to mention how Sagittarius is also half man and half horse. Now, Sagittarius is aka Chiron, the wounded healer. Chiron was rejected by his parents, which were Kronos and the sea nymph. I don't remember her name, but the sea nymph rejected her son, and he ended up being adopted by Apollo and his brother Artemis. And what was crazy is when you think about it, I think of Katniss Everdeen. Artemis is the god of hunt. And then Apollo, he's also the god of archery, music, dance. He's also the god of, not the god of astrology, but he taught Chiron astrology. And he also taught Chiron how to heal. So kind of like pause that thought and we'll get back to that later. But to kind of go back onto the half man, half horse thing, that's where Sagittarius, it's a very wild energy, and it's very beastly energy. It wants to be very much immersed in itself and just run, right? Versus like that other nature of them of being half man, of wanting to do good onto others, to be, a humane person and think about others and kind of like treat others with love and respect. I kind of feel like people who have their Mars in Sagittarius, they're just naturally good-natured, well-mannered people. That is their innate like reaction, is to help people. Of course, I mean, there's a light and dark to everything. I'm not saying every Mars and Sagittarius person is a saint, but usually when I'm talking about just the pure energy, or at least like a high vibrational Mars and Sagittarius person, they will innately want to just help other people. That just comes naturally to them, that desire. And then talking about the half horse thing, they have agility. These people definitely have speed. I remember, I know a Mars and Sagittarius person, they were always the fastest. They sprinted faster than anyone else. They have the spirit of a horse. And physically, you could say that they have, such agility and speed. They could be faster than anyone else. And to even talk about even just the nature of being a horse, Mars and Sagittarius people do not want to be, their inclination is not to be combative. Because when you think about a horse, they have a strong fight or flight reaction to danger. They will flight first before they will ever fight. They will have to be able, that's when they can't run, that's when you should be scared. Because when you're trying to tame a horse and kind of corner a horse, they have the power to kick you and it's just over. Lights out. You might have to come back the next lifetime to kind of finish lessons, because that power behind a horse is crazy, right? But like I said, their inclination is to flight. They would rather run in the opposite direction. And that's the thing too. I kind of feel like Mars and Sagittarius people, they are very aware of their surroundings. A horse has a 350-degree range of sight. They just don't have that 10%. So that's why I kind of feel like, I feel like a Mars in Scorpio is kind of like almost intuitively aware of their surroundings. It's more like they feel a ripple in the water because it's a water sign, right? Scorpio's a water sign, but I feel like a Mars and Sagittarius will just feel the energy not feel the energy, but just kind of use their actual senses. They will actually use their sight and their hearing to kind of really feel the temperature. Horses have a 360-degree hearing and 350-degree eyesight, right? So a horse might just have to turn its neck just a small bit to get that last 10 degrees of sight, and then they fly. They're fleeing. They use that flight to kind of react to danger. So yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about that, and I also kind of feel like a Mars and Sagittarius person, I kind of feel like because of that mutable fire energy, that just sometimes they will react and they won't really use the knowledge that they have accumulated all the lifetimes because they're in panic, right? So I feel like a Mars and Sagittarius person, sometimes when they're in danger, they might just freak out. They might just kind of, like I said, the flight, sometimes they will be able to dodge danger, but sometimes they will make decisions. Especially if their Mars is not well aspected with their Mercury, they might not make good decisions in the moment, when they're in need of to kind of do something really quickly or just move instantaneously, And that's the thing too, a very mature Mars and Sagittarius person will be like a spiritual embodiment. They have learned over time, like I said, to balance both of that wild energy, but also that good unto all people type of energy as well. And that's the thing, that's the beautiful story about Chiron at the end, is that he was a mentor to Prometheus, and Prometheus, I guess, messed up and was going to be sentenced to death because he gave human beings fire. I guess he wasn't supposed to do that. And then Chiron, after he was hit by a poison arrow shot by Hercules, he just kind of he knew he couldn't heal himself. He tried to. He was definitely taught in the arts. Apollo is also the god of healing, and he taught Chiron how to heal. And it was kind of it's kind of irony in a way that the healer couldn't heal himself. That's why they call Chiron the wounded healer. And when Chiron couldn't heal himself, he just basically said hey, I'll take the place of Prometheus. And Zeus was so moved that he was willing to lose his life to kind of save his mentee. He was willing to basically make Chiron a constellation in the sky, Centaurus, right? And I think what it is that I think Zeus was so moved that, Chiron was so willing to be sacrificial because he knew, I'm pretty sure it's not a secret the way mythology goes, because his parents obviously had rejected him. The father came as a horse and tricked his mother, and then the mother rejected his mother, a sea nymph, rejected him. That wound is very deep. And it's kind of I think of people who I kind of feel like no matter how much sometimes people can love you, sometimes it's very difficult to be rejected by your own blood, or people who were the ones responsible for giving you life. It's very difficult to kind of come from that. And even though he couldn't necessarily heal the physical wound that Hercules had caused him with that poisoned arrow, of all ironies, to be hurt by a poisoned arrow, being taught by the god of archery too, it was kind of almost maybe Chiron knew from a spiritual standpoint that it was time for him to go. Maybe he understood fate, and he understood the stars, and he understood what his purpose was meant to do in protecting someone else, right? So yeah, I just kind of feel like Chiron really teaches us how the world is kind of set up against you, and your back is to the wall, but how you could still, instead of kind of reacting, as an animal who doesn't understand its surroundings or what's happening to it, it's you're able to kind of be that humane person and be sacrificial. It's almost kind of I said, it's just kind of when you think about an archer, and especially when we're talking about Mars, the god of war, Aries, which, is all about Mars, and Aries is the god of war and everything like that. When you think about how Sagittarius is the archer, before kind of battle even starts, they kind of really calculate what they need to calculate and learn to calculate the direction and the direction of the wind and the speed of the wind in order to really kind of make their arrow perfectly hit that target right on point. And I kind of feel like that's a Mars and Sagittarius person. All they need is direction, and they're really able to kind of put their passions and energy toward a specific goal and a specific area in life, whether that might be love, career, sex, anything of that nature. I kind of feel like they just need to kind of look to themselves, and really kind of understand what they want and kind of bring it into fruition. Because definitely I think that's the thing. They can kind of see all possibilities being a spiritual embodiment, but they really need to kind of control that energy and really kind of narrow it into something, like I said, something specific. So yeah, that's kind of my take on a Mars and Sagittarius person, and how to kind of or how that energy kind of is. And if anyone is a Mars and Sagittarius person, please let me know if this resonates with you. Let me know if you were that person who's the fastest of everyone else, or if you were that person who just might unknowingly just kind of have destruction be around you as a kid or anything like that. Just let me know. And then two, I just kind of want to say too, I'm Sophomore Astrology everywhere. So Instagram at Sophomore Astrology. Also too, I have a website. So go ahead and check that out. I post a blog every Wednesday. And then, of course, I'm going to keep posting videos here. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.